So for the next unpopular opinions and hot takes, we have made our way into another member of the Bat family in Batgirl, and very particularly, we're dealing with Barbara Gordon. And with Barbara Gordon, of course, comes Batgirl, but obviously as well, Oracle. And a lot of the comments that you will find on this post is who is Barbara Gordon better suited as. So with that being said, let's get into the comments and see what some of you had to say. DFuxa says, I once saw another YouTuber make a comment about how giving Barbara the ability to walk again was a huge disservice to those unable to walk in real life. I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I think her having the handicap was actually a useful way to expand on representation without having to race or gender swap or alter an existing character in some other non-story related way. I agree with this. I don't think I would go that far as well, but making Barbara a handicap adds depth and growth to her character in a way that we never thought we would have seen her grow. And it is a great way to expand on her character, like you say, without having to do race or gender swapping or any other artificial type of change that has nothing to do with the story. That is 100% a completely different conversation. But I do think a lot of reasons why these writers are making those decisions for certain characters, or why companies are forcing these writers to make those decisions, it's because they need to try and find a way to be more inclusive, even though that does not always work. And they also need to find a way to make these characters feel more personable and more relatable. But that's why the handicap situation with Barbara is so interesting, because it's actually giving her a hardship that other people around the world who might be handicapped as well, they get to see and journey with that character to see how she handles being in that situation, maybe the same way they've handled being in that situation. And it also, in a way, makes her stronger when she has to go through it. Chase Rowe. I agree with the idea that she should stay Oracle. Every team needs the guy in the chair. I'd say she does it best for the Bat family. Side note, I think Alfred is more of a mentor father figure than a guy in the chair, even though he does have his moments. 100% the Bat family is filled with a bunch of people who are a jack of all trades. And I've sent something like this similar on another video before, just can't remember what video it is. However, you're dealing with a group of people who in their jack of all trades are a master at some of these trades. And yeah, Alfred can act as that guy in the chair, the person behind the computer who's helping coordinate with Batman or whoever else is on the mission. But it's like me saying if I played football, I can catch the ball as a wide receiver or run it as a running back. I can do both, but I'm better at catching the ball than I am running with the ball. I'm better at running routes. I'm better at going one-on-one with someone. Alfred can be the strategist and coordinate with the rest of the team while they're out on the field. But if Barbara is available, she is just far better at it. She's got computer expertise and hacking expertise. She might even be one of the best hackers straight up on Earth. And I think one of the best representations we've ever had of the Oracle character is actually in the Arkham games. I think the way she was written and her story through Asylum City and Night perfectly sums up why Oracle is a very useful asset to have. Framer of Worlds. It's been 13 years since they made her Batgirl again, and I still haven't seen a story or character development that made it worth it. Oracle over Batgirl, and it's not even close. There are obviously a lot of people who are on one side or the other. I'm in a situation where I do like both, even though I do personally side more with Oracle. But I also don't mind the time she had as Batgirl. In all honesty, the way I see it is I think Barbara is actually the catalyst for Batgirl. She is the one character who made it known that if there is a Batman, if there is a Robin, there can also be a Batgirl who goes along with those characters. She showed that it's possible, and she made it work. She made it exist. I think it is important to note that even though she may not be able to be Batgirl anymore, or maybe some people don't want her to be Batgirl anymore, there is always going to be a Batgirl mantle to have. She created the persona, and she's now capable of passing it off to somebody who might even be more capable than her as that character. Grayson. I think Barbara is the best Batgirl and was as fantastic as Oracle. I'm not sure there should be a one is better debate at all. She's a linchpin character that has added depth and soul to the Bat family. Saying that she is still, in my opinion, capable of being a standalone character. She's hyper intelligent, witty, fantastic in hand-to-hand fighting, battle-tested, and true to what a real hero is. Can't wait for this video. Any Babs videos are good videos. Thanks again. Well, you're very welcome, and I do have to agree. I don't think the Bat family would necessarily be the same without her, Batgirl or Oracle. As I was just saying, even though I prefer her as Oracle, the debate of one is better than the other, it might be obsolete, to be honest with you. Her value to the Bat family is what is important, and if her value comes from being Batgirl or Oracle, so be it. And simply put, the sacrifices she has made as Batgirl will never be forgotten. Dylan Maynard. They need to let go of her romantic relationship with Dick Grayson. They've been so on and off over the years, and DC clearly does not plan on committing. Both of them should just be able to move on. And then we have another comment from Trey Station Edits that says, her and Nightwing are the best DC couple in DC and Marvel. There are a lot of people who commented here who have very strong feelings about the relationship status of these two characters. Some people are on Team Oracle, some people are on Team Starfire. Me, being completely honest, I'm going to agree with Dylan here. I think it is getting to the point where it's kind of getting annoying. And I think there are certain situations where Nightwing and Oracle almost feel like a Batman-Catwoman situation. When I went through Catwoman's Unpopular Opinions, I stated that I was tired of their relationship. I thought it was way too much back and forth, it got boring, and I was no longer interested in those two characters being together anymore. There's no commitment between them, and I feel the same way for Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon. It's always been back and forth. One day they're in love, the next day they're not, and that's why I've always liked Nightwing so much better with Starfire. But this isn't saying Barbara Gordon should not be with anybody, because she absolutely should be. But perhaps we need to be looking at other characters and other avenues of relationships she can be in that is not always just Dick Grayson. And I feel a big reason why it's so easy to pin those two together as a couple is because both of them were around the same age when they joined Batman in crime fighting, and of course when you're training together, when you're working together, when you're spending so much time together at that age, they're obviously going to catch feelings for one another. Maybe it's time to let go of that and try something else. Blade Star. Personally, I don't think she should have been paralyzed for 10 minutes. Not with Kryptonian, Martian, New Genesis, Thanagarian, Ranian, Owen, and 30th century technology available. Also was shown that giving her a power ring would do the trick. Adam could shrink the damage and operate from within inside, not to mention Will Magnus, Star Labs, Cyborg's father, and others. Barbara should have been walking the next day. You say something about how she shouldn't have been paralyzed for 10 minutes. Maybe that's just a typo. But at the very least, I get what your entire comment is trying to say here. With all the technology that these comic book worlds have, it really does not make sense how she has stayed paralyzed for so long. Let alone Wayne Enterprises. They're bound to have some sort of technology that could prop her up and help her walk, or even reconstruct her spine if they have to. There is so much technology found on Earth, found in the future, found from other dimensions, found from within the universe that they could have definitely utilized to help her walk again. You know, even though we're dealing with a comic book world where one consequence potentially has hundreds of solutions to solve it, I do like the idea that she stayed paralyzed because it shows consequences of actions. It shows how dangerous this world can be. And just because you're the good guys does not mean good things are going to always happen for you. It's the same thing when they try to kill off main characters. They all always end up coming back within a couple of months, maybe a year at the latest. So I appreciated how long they kept Barbara in that state and that she had to deal with what was done to her. GPT Fights. I believe that the decision to bring her ability to walk was a mistake because it showed the message that the loss of walking ability does not mean you can't be a hero and inspired so many wheelchair-bound people, but then the writers undermined all that instead of just keeping Cassandra as Batgirl or introducing a new one. And it is especially interesting when usually you have conversations about Batgirl and a lot of people who are fans of Batgirl or the Bat family will tell you that their preferences do usually lie with Cassandra Cain as Batgirl instead of Barbara Gordon. Bringing her back as Batgirl is definitely an interesting decision. I think it kind of undermines the weight of the Killing Joke too. It just goes to show that once again, no matter what is done in these worlds, it can simply be undone with the snap of a finger by a writer who simply just does not want that to be done anymore. Sometimes the importance of these past decisions aren't always held up. This is why we are in a situation where now all of a sudden Barbara Gordon can be Batgirl again. J1P2K. Bruce Timm did so much for DC animation, but his need to put Batgirl and Batman in a romantic relationship is one of the most disturbing things to happen to the characters. Yeah, it's very strange, quite uncomfortable, and really unnecessary. I truthfully have no understanding on why he likes it so much. It's funny, when you watch the Killing Joke animated movie and they made the scene where basically make love to one another, I'm watching it and I'm like, whoa, where the hell did this come from? What's going on? This is the first evidence I've ever seen of them ever having a relationship with one another. And then all of a sudden, I started to look back at something like the Batman animated series.
Spring break will be coming up soon, and I'll be back in Gotham for 2 whole weeks. Won't that be nice?
Yes.
And even a tie-in comic about the Batman animated series. And I was like, oh my God, he used to subtly write in things that maybe Batman and Barbara had a relation with one another behind Dick Grayson's back while she was with Dick Grayson. And it's because I was so young at the time, I never took that into consideration. But now when you look at it, you almost feel like your mind is blown. And it's a very strange pairing when you think about how many bombshell female characters that you could pin with Batman at any moment, and they resort to Batman and Batgirl. It is a little icky, and it is definitely nowhere near a direction I would ever think of going unless you literally gave me a story in which Barbara Gordon is around the same age as Bruce Wayne. Zach Coates. She is better as Oracle than she is as Batgirl. I don't hate Barbara as Batgirl. I just find her less interesting than any of the Robins and would rather those characters get more lines. That said, I greatly enjoy her as Oracle. She adds a new dynamic to the Bat family that no other character really fits, and it is a dynamic I really enjoy. Maybe the reason why Barbara is not as interesting as Batgirl as maybe Dick is as Robin or Jason or Tim is as Robin, it's that all the Robins and even Cassandra Cain as Batgirl, they all have some sort of past trauma or very specific reasons on why they've joined Batman's crusade, why they're searching for answers in this way, dressed as a crime-fighting servant to a man in a bat suit. Whereas with Barbara, she's in a situation where, yeah, I see my dad as police commissioner, and I think it's cool that we have this vigilante who stalks the buildings at night. I kind of want to do the same thing and prove to my dad that I'm not too young to make a difference. Hey, that's her motivation. That's her goal. That's cool. But she doesn't have anything, if you will, morally or ethically tying her down to the role of Batgirl the way some of these other characters have, tying them down to their alter egos, their Robin roles or other Batgirl roles, or even Batman himself. So once again, that's not saying that Barbara as Batgirl is terrible, because by no means is it. It's just saying that the importance of her relation to that role is maybe not as deep as some others. For my unpopular opinion on Barbara Gordon, a big chunk of our memories for this character is her relationship with Batman, Nightwing, the rest of the Bat family. How she briefly operated as Batgirl. We've also seen what she's had to do as Oracle. Then we have her as part of the Birds of Prey and how she operated within that team. Very often the idea is that when Batman Beyond comes into the picture, Barbara is the new commissioner. She takes over for her father. And I always think to myself, why not go bigger from there? Why not try and elevate that position? The way I would always see it is Barbara would look back at her entire career fighting criminals. She would realize that yes, Gotham needs the GCPD. We need police. We need people like my father and others who joined him in the GCPD to keep assisting people like Batman in doing the right thing. However, I've also realized that no matter how many heroes we might have, or even good cops we might have, there's still always an overwhelming amount of crime in Gotham City. So instead, why not run for mayor? How much of an intelligent woman she becomes, one of the most intelligent members of the Bat family, with all the resources she could have at her fingertips. I always thought it would be a really good idea if she had some sort of mayor figure, even potentially higher than that when you go down the line into the future, and maybe at a point in which Terry McGinnis is now Batman Beyond. I know it's not the craziest unpopular opinion of all time, but it has always just been an idea that I've had for her. So there you go, guys. Unpopular opinions and hot takes on Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, Oracle. In the comments below, leave some more hot takes and unpopular opinions on the character, and also leave some comments behind on other characters that you want to see me make unpopular opinions for. As I always say, I do have a growing list, and whoever you place down below, I will place them on that list and get to them eventually. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.